With no more trades on the table for MLB teams, we're going to continue to see them look for help at the minor league level, and some high end prospects are going to start to come up more frequently. So, today, let's talk about a couple of players who are the number one prospect in their team's farm system, and a guy who was the number one prospect just a year ago, but still hasn't broken out. It's not too late. Let's start in the Bronx. We don't know if when Jason Dominguez will get the call, but you feel like it's just a matter of time. Now, you might think, well, the Yankees don't have a need anymore. They just got Jazz Chisholm. Yeah, he's playing third base, but still, they've got their lineup filled out. Everybody's healthy for now. I mean, why would they promote Dominguez? How about the fact that the guy is obviously a freak of nature? That's why he's nicknamed the Martian, but also he's dominating still at AAA. He's got nothing to prove at the minor league level. At some point, the Yankees just have to call him up, don't they? Now, he has missed some time, which has delayed his arrival for the Yankees. He just was activated off the IL July 26th, but the time that he has spent at the AAA level, just doing everything he can, hitting 302, and for a guy who is a slugger, only a 22% strikeout rate, that plate discipline is encouraging. Of course, we already know the power is there. So, yes, Jazz is there now, New York. Stanton is back. Judge is still healthy. But you know what? They might look for some, an injection of not just youth, but also some life into that lineup where guys like Alex Verdugo are starting to struggle again. I mean, you never know. There's talk maybe he moves to first base to just get his bat in the lineup if Ben Rice continues to struggle. I'm not sure about that. They'll find a way at some point to get in there, and you want to be on top of it before he arrives. So I can't say exactly how long it'll take, but you figure it's a matter of time. You want to get him now. How about a guy who's no longer a Yankee, but took a big jump in his farm system ranking because he went from number 20 in the Yankees system, which is pretty deep, to now number 6 because he's in the Marlins farm system. That's a guy who went over in that Jazz Chisholm trade, Augustin Ramirez, who is a catcher. Now, he hasn't been one of the high end prospects in that system, but you know what? Not just that he's in a weaker farm system, but he's been a fast riser this year, so he's been shooting up the board anyways. You might look at his numbers and say he's only hitting 214 in AAA this year. And yeah, he got promoted from AA where he was doing pretty well, but not amazing. But if you look just at July, and that includes a couple of games with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, now the Miami Marlins, he's been hitting 288 in that month. You know, he's going to continue to hit. And this is an interesting case of a catcher who can get you some power, but also some speed. This year, across multiple levels in the minor leagues, he's got a total of 20 home runs and 19 stolen bases. Like I said, that batting average has been climbing. It's very easy to see a path to at bats for him this year with the Marlins. I mean, they've got veterans Nick Fortes and Ali Sanchez there as their duo behind the plate. Well, that duo is hitting 219 and 170 respectively, and they have combined, yes, combined for 2 home runs this season. It's pretty obvious Ramirez would be an instant upgrade there. Not that the Marlins seem overly interested in things like winning games or scoring runs, but still, they got to see what they have now here. They might as well. This might be a September call up, but look, if you're in a two catcher league or a desperate for catcher because I'm streaming the position kind of situation, Ramirez is definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Now we know the Tigers are rebuilding, so maybe they'll finally give Jace Young a chance to see what he can do at the major league level. His brother Josh finally debuted this year, going back with the Texas Rangers after missing so much time on the IL. Maybe Jace is next, and why not? Now, Jace can play either third base or second base. It really doesn't matter. The Tigers could upgrade pretty much across the board. And look, instead of guys like Gio or Shella or Andy or Banez, wherever they're rolling out at third base, why not give Young a chance? He's shown that he can dominate at the AAA level. You know, the batting average, solid 259, but 14 home runs, 55 RBIs. And again, I always go back to what teams really look for is that plate discipline. He's got a really impressive 15% walk rate, along with a fairly low strikeout rate for a slugger. Tigers have been pretty aggressive in calling up prospects this year. We saw Justin Henry Malloy a while back. We just saw Dylan Dingler at catcher. Jung just seems logical as the next man up. And what's nice is you could slot him in at second or third. This guy has 60 grade raw power. He's shown it a little bit already in the minors. Think even in a park like Detroit, he can show some muscle there. And we also are going to see pitching prospects get called up. You always have to be careful. I'm always going to say it with young pitchers, no matter how highly they are valued, how highly they are ranked, how much they dominate in the minors. But let's look at one of the top pitching prospects for a team that now suddenly might be in need. That's the New York Mets. Well, Brandon Sproat was just promoted to AAA. It might not be long before he gets the call again because the Mets now are still thin in the rotation again. They really didn't make many waves at the deadline. They added Paul Blackburn, who, let's face it, is just a back of the rotation kind of arm, an innings eater at best. Fine. But they are suddenly in need because Kodai Senga, just when he came back, is now gone. That calf injury, he's done. Christian Scott, who was their top pitching prospect, was looking promising. He's done too with UCL injury. And so that rotation might need help pretty soon. If Sproat looks the way he has recently, and it might not be long before he gets the call. It's no coincidence that Sprout was just promoted because his very last start at the AA level, he struck out 13 batters in just 5 innings and didn't walk a single guy. On the season, in 11 starts, he had a 2.45 ERA and a 0.87 whip. And that one game was not a fluke. He has 77 strikeouts in 62 innings. So he's proven all he can at that level. Again, it might not take more than a couple of starts at AAA before the Mets see what they have in him. Some people still seem to be holding out hope for Jose Buto to get a starting job. Obviously, the Mets are not among them because if they had full confidence in him, he would have been starting for a long time now. He's going to be a long reliever, middle reliever. That's it. I'm going to look ahead and see if Sproat can debut, and if so, what he can do. And I feel like we have to talk about the number one prospect for the San Francisco Giants. Marco Luciano is back. He was just recalled a few days ago, and he's been playing pretty much every day since getting recalled again. Now, you can definitely still get ahead of this breakout for two reasons. First of all, despite being with the club for a few days now and actually seeing some time earlier this season, he definitely hasn't broken out yet because he doesn't have a single home run or stolen base this season. And he's definitely still available because he's only gone 3 for 13 in the past week. So here we're just looking at potential. That's it. This untapped potential. Luciano's been a high end prospect for years, but back injuries keep holding him back. But just remember, at the shortstop position, whether that's where he ultimately stays long term, who knows? But as a still shortstop, he's got 70 grade raw power. I realize San Fran, not the best place for a power hitter, but this guy has enough muscle. He can get out of most parks. And of course, remember that, teams only play half their games in their home park. So Luciano still got plenty of upside. Worth taking a flyer on in deep leagues, especially NL only, 15 team leagues, that sort. And then I feel like this is an appropriate time to bring up a guy who was the number one prospect for the Cardinals last year. Of course, that's Jordan Walker. If you haven't heard anything about Walker lately, it's because not much has happened. He's still toiling away at the AAA level, and it's not like he's forcing his way back onto the big club. So why talk about him now? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, he seems like he's figuring it out, starting to get hot now. He's gone 12 for his last 32, picking up base hits, cutting down a little bit on the strikeouts, a couple home runs. Look, we saw last year, remember, same story here. Started out briefly hot in the majors and then got sent down after he got cold and wound up having a pretty good second half. Will that happen this year? Well, he's going to need to get called up for that to happen. It could definitely happen. This guy still has a ton of talent, still super young, of course. Now, they did just call up Victor Scott again because Michael Ciani went on the IL. And yeah, I know they just added Tommy Pham. And so it seems like they're not interested in Walker just yet. But I figure September 1st might be the latest that he gets called up. They've got to, right? They've got to see what they have in him. So I'm not looking at the fact that he hit 155 with St. Louis in his first 67 plate appearances this year. Let's look at what he can do in September. Let's look at the fact he has massive power, massive potential. At some point, the Cardinals are going to have to make a decision on him. And so stash him now before that happens. You also don't want to be too late to move on from players who are struggling if they're hurting your team. Who should you really worry about? Well, as always, I talk about that on Panic Player Video. Check out the latest one.